Hey everyone, so today we're going to be going over some word problems. We're going to be doing some two quantity adjustment or limited ingredient problems. So the formula for this is your received, so I'm shortening it with RCVD, or your used, or issued. You divide this all by your AFRS, or what the recipe calls for. What the recipe calls for. So when it comes to these word problems on limited ingredient, the main word you want to focus on is this used one. So this is the word you want to look out for the most. So this first one says you received 65 pounds of spare ribs and the AFRS calls for 50 pounds per 100. What is a working factor? So these two first ones are pretty simple. So all you gotta do is get your numbers and plug them into your formula. So again, it says you received 65 pounds of spare ribs, so you received this on top. So that's where you're gonna put that number. So 65 pounds, you divide it by your AFRS, what the recipe calls for. It says, and the AFRS calls for 50 pounds per 100. What is your working factor? So all you gotta do is put 50 under, 50 pounds, and then you just divide these two together, which is 65 divided by 50 equals 1.3. So this is your final answer. Your working factor is 1.3. That's it. Pretty simple. So this next one, just erase this real quick. Is gonna be pretty similar. So again, it says you received 120 pounds of chicken and the AFRS calls for 65 pounds per 100 portions. What is your working factor? So the same like we did earlier, you received 120, so that number is gonna go on the top. So 120 pounds divided by your AFRS, what the recipe calls for. So, and the AFRS calls for 65 pounds per 100. So all you gotta do is put 65 at the bottom. And all you gotta do is just divide these two numbers together. So you got 120 divided by 65, which equals 1.85. The reason for that is we always have to round it to the hundredths place. So it's gonna be these two numbers after the decimal. And the third number, if it's 4 or below, this number would stay the same. But if it's 5 or above, we have to round it up. That's why we got 1.85. And that's it.